Well, welcome to another Sunday Sense. Aloyment. So, episode 9. Time flies. Time flies. This week was pretty crazy. I have to admit, it was pretty bananas. All of the things that actually happened, and basically where the country is heading, and the things that keep happening, and hopefully they stop happening. Um, for example, I was watching the news, and they were talking about the Denver mayor just making sure that he was able to defund the police so he can adjudicate more money into the illegal immigrants in the city, very famous blue city around the country. And right now facing another problem, which is, the same problem that has been happening to most of those blue cities, which is an influx of illegal immigration, just making sure that it complicates the life for the rest of the people. And these geniuses have been learned that the more money you take away from the police departments, that you defund the police just to give it to other resources or whatever, is insane. At the end of the day, that's going to end up costing them way too much. But all in the name of politics, am I right? So these people don't care. These people just will do whatever it takes to get themselves reelected. And I think people are noticing. And I think it's going to end up backfiring on them. Or at least I hope they do. I really hope it does. It can't continue to be this way. Something else that I was looking at the news. And by the way, I just want to talk about something very quickly. Every Sunday when we come in here, you can use it if you really don't watch too much politics or don't hear too much about politics. I can always add my 2 cents into the a little bit of the red pill that this country needs. We really truly need to share that pill around a little bit more. I will be able to share with you a little bit of the news that is happening in the country. I will not CNN my podcast by CNNing it. Basically, I would just go along with all this craziness, and at the end of the day, it will cost you way too much for me to do that. So, no, I am not going to do that. I am not going to cooperate with all this craziness happening and all this brainwashing and manipulation going on. It's not going to happen. Don't count on me for that one. I'm a very straightforward shooter, and I like to explain things how I see it, and technically how they are. Is sometimes you say it's black or white. In this case, it's either blue or red, and believe it or not, we're kind of there. We're kind of there. Look, let's talk about the January 6th committee and all the Democrats saying that they fear that if Trump gets back into power, they will be sent to jail. Listen, I will tell you the truth. I don't think only Democrats should be worried about that. Republicans should too. And yes, obviously Trump doesn't have the power to say you're going to jail and send him to jail, as they say. Only a dictator does. And we all know he was not a dictator. He will not become a dictator either. I don't think this country, even though we are claiming and begging for a change, we will allow communism to take over. I don't think it will happen. So I think elections will continue to happen, and our voice will basically be managing, hopefully, the future, as long as we're able to obviously pass some laws and make sure that we keep these elections clean and the upcoming elections clean. Make sure that only citizens vote. Make sure that is completely clear, transparent, everything you can actually see it happening right there. As long as we do that, I think we're going to be in the right track. But they're trying to change that too. And that, obviously, is the root of the problem. But going back into the January 6th committee and what they were saying about them being, afraid that Trump is going to send them to prison. Look, once again, I don't think only Democrats, Republicans that were involved in this too, should be afraid of the law, the actual law, following its curves and making sure that everything is done correctly. And if they lie, they manipulate it, they should pay the consequences. Of course, doesn't matter if you're the Republican or Democrat or alien or illegal alien. No, it doesn't matter if you're illegal alien because obviously you shouldn't be there. But anyways, if we leave these people in power, we might start electing people that are illegal immigrants too. Who knows? But the truth around all of this is the rule of law is what needs to be reinstated in this country. And that is exactly what is bringing us down. And the faster we do it, the faster we're going to get back in track. There is a lot. Like, for example, at the beginning of the week, actually midweek more or less, Trump had the Supreme Court. They were deliberating, if I'm not mistaken, into if he has a immunity or not, being president. And I think that is a very interesting subject for two reasons. One, the judge in New York, in charge of his case, the hush money case, didn't allow him, obviously, to be present at this very important hearing in the Supreme Court. He had to be stuck in New York, which is something that is just an abuse of power, in my personal opinion. They're supposed to be levels, okay? Yes, he is a citizen. Yes, he should have the same rights as we all do. But we also have to take in consideration that he was president. He is the face of the Republican Party running into presidency. He is somebody that at this point, all of this should have happened when he got out of the presidency. Not now. Not months before the election, just to tie him up there. It is completely wrong. It doesn't matter in which side of the street you're on. This is wrong. It's exactly what is wrong with this country and what needs to change. And it's something that shouldn't happen to any kind of politician at this level. Especially knowing that all of this happened a long time ago and they just waited to the last second to make sure they were able to interfere as much as possible in the election. And that is wrong. Very, very wrong. But going back into the hearing of the Supreme Court, I think the Supreme Court has a very tough decision in their hands. And I say tough because is putting a lot of common sense into what should be decided and what kind of powers should the president have. But it's also because if we think about the fact that if he loses his immunity up to a certain point, that could trigger back to other presidents. And as a matter of fact, I think that could open up even a bigger kind of worms because you know what? They should apply it to everybody, including Secretary of States, including everybody else that have been involved in politics, and hopefully speakers of the House as well, and senators, etc., etc. So all of this should have a triggering effect that I don't think politicians would like to see. If I tell you the truth, being president, I guess, is a very tough job. And they have to make decisions. They have to speak about things that are very hard for a regular citizen to approach. Not only because of, they need to be able to make those decisions, knowing that if they do, then don't have to fear what is going to come in the future. They just have to make those decisions based on what the majority of the people and the citizens elect him to do or her to do, and go on with it without once again fearing whatever the consequences are going to be. Because if that's the case, then we come down to, let me not do this because it's gonna send me to jail once I leave the presidency. So it's a very, very delicate topic that not only applies to Trump at the moment, it will apply to other presidents and to past presidents as well. And that's playing with fire, in my personal opinion. It is what it is. We can't change the past. We can possibly use it to make sure that we don't mess up the future. But we're in a situation now that I guess that doesn't really apply. We have seen this happening before in some other ways. And once again, it's like, I think I spoke about this in one of my first podcasts. And I was saying that I would like to see what is happening now and compare it to the 70s, the end of the 70s, which basically, those baby boomers and everything were just peace and love and pot and drugs and this and that. And eventually Reagan came along and was able to put us back in track. And that's the way I like to see it. And I like to repeat it because I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that God has a better plan for all of us, and especially for this country. Because once again, He knows we need it. Looking at what is happening in the universities and all the protests going on in the universities and take over the universities, which are not only students, obviously, is something that should be an eye-opening for all of us, especially because this week Biden signed into law another donation to other countries of $90 billion. Wow, $90 billion. Like, just saying that amount is crazy. But there we are. We are cutting down on our veterans, or cutting down in our military surplus and everything else, because we need to shape, here and there and our expenses. Yet, don't worry, we got you guys. We'll send you billions of dollars. And there is a couple of things that are very important about this bill, because one, something that I do not agree with is the banning of TikTok. And I say I don't agree with the banning of TikTok because that shouldn't be put together. Okay, and it's the same thing that we continue to do, and the same hole that we continue to fall into, is allowing all those senators and everything just to make a million decisions in one bill. Like, what the heck? I mean, look, are we going to vote on banning TikTok, or we're going to vote on giving money away because we're rich? But yet, none of our people, including myself, are rich. So, it's like, what is going on here? Choose a side. Just what are you going to do? So, it shouldn't be both in one at all. And that's exactly what it is. Like always, there is always a bunch of things inside of a bill, and they sign it. And imagine, they say bipartisan bill. I don't understand. I keep saying it. I don't understand why Republicans don't get together the way Democrats do, and that is something I marvel from the Democrats. Once again, they stick together. They move on together. They do things together, and that is a marvel. We have a lot to learn. We do, and is I can't even comprehend why we continue to auto-destruct ourselves, and I mean in the Republican Party. I don't understand that. But we're talking about the bill. So the bill not only has billions of dollars to give away to other countries, it actually comes with I think it was a $3.5 billion. And the $3.5 billion were going to be dedicated to help the immigration from people from the Middle East. basically what this is going to do, or supposedly the money is going to be allocated to make sure that the process is smoother and faster. Okay, like how many more people are we going to bring into this country besides the amount of planes coming in full of people and stuff that we don't even know about? Or the millions of people crossing the border that we don't even know about either. And the ones we know, which I think is like 7 million or plus, might be getting to 8, who knows? At the speed they're coming in, it wouldn't amaze me it's 8 already. And then they were talking about, I think, something ridiculous, like $300 million dedicated for border protection in Ukraine. You know, it sounds like a joke. It really does. Because, you stop and you say, hold on. When we speak about border protection, the first thing that comes to mind is our border. Like, if we're talking about fences, and I'm talking about people coming into my house, eating my food, and sleeping in my bed, and doing other stuff, I am going to build a fence, am I right? But then I decide, well, I'm not going to dedicate the money for that fence. I am going to build my neighbor up the mountain fence, but I'm not going to build mine. Yet, that makes no difference to me. This is what really is affecting me. So, I can't comprehend it. I can't. I mean, it's something that is out of control, and what is going to ignite is a huge problem come next year. And we're going to have to make very tough choices and decisions as citizens into what are we going to back up and what are we going to consider right and what are we going to consider wrong. But it's coming. It's coming. Obviously, something is going to happen in the sense of we need to clean the house, obviously. And we need to make sure that we cover our front door. And look, if we're not going to build a wall or we say the fence outside my house, might as well put a couple plywoods and screw it into my main door so nobody else comes in. Something needs to happen because we cannot continue to sustain this, especially when we seem to be, I wouldn't say the bank, because all this money given away to Ukraine and other countries is just basically enjoy because I'm rich and I'm going to give you all the money that you might need and that you want. Once again, look at Zelensky dressed up like a military in attire, left and right, even inside the UN. This is a clown show. And it bothers me because it's our money, it's our taxes. And if it's not our taxes, because you know what is true, our taxes don't cover that. We obviously have to borrow money, have to print money. So it becomes a debt. And obviously something that is going to continue to hunt us down. Not possibly me, but my kids. Not possibly you, but your kids. And all of this is just going to trigger more and more and more problems. And that is something that they're going to have to deal with. And exactly something that should have been prevented. And hopefully we start this year preventing it. But most importantly, it will be only if we're able to make the justice system work again. If we do that, and I'm a firm believer that everybody has the right to a day in court. Everybody. And that is, once again, the core of our country. And hopefully it'll continue to be as important and even more in the future. And everybody that commits atrocities or does something illegal or even unfair to others are found liable. And it doesn't matter what party you're in, it doesn't matter what mentality it is. What is wrong. And obviously, everybody deserves his right to court. And I think that as long as our justice systems continue to improve, hopefully, we'll be able to get out of this hole the best way possible. Look, talking about illegal immigrants and all the cost that is carrying on with with them coming into this country is, I think, something around the numbers of $450 billion a year in cost to this country. And look, there we were a couple weeks ago talking about New York giving, I think, a budget of $50 million or so to give every immigrant thousands of dollars for free. And obviously the number is way bigger. We're talking about $450 billion a year just in costs of illegal immigrants that are already in this country. It sounds easy, but it's insane. And just imagine if we're able to save that amount of money. Oh, we never will, because we are a land of immigrants. And what I think is everybody that comes into this country should do it legally. I've said that a million times. And there should always be a balance. And in a way to make sure that if you come into this country, you're bringing something to this country. Look, it's that very European, Italian mentality of, if I'm going to your house, I'm going to bring something, am I right? Hopefully something good. And that's the way it should be. I'm going to somebody else's house. I am going to make sure that I'm a good guest. And if I decide to stay, and I'm allowed to stay, I am going to carry on my weight. And that's the way it should be on everybody that comes into the country. It's not that I'm going to go to somebody else's house and do as I please without any kind of consequences, and they have to deal with it because I said so. That is insane, period. So let's see what happens. The elections are shaping very interestingly. Just this week, I heard that Biden said that he would like to what was the name, to debate Trump. Listen, I'm going to tell you something, guys. I don't know if you guys heard when Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk had the idea of going and fighting and all this stuff, and Mark got injured, but anyways. And they were planning in doing it in the Coliseum in Rome, which I think it would be amazing. I mean, incredible. If you've never been in the Coliseum, that place is impressive. It's magical. You're getting there, it's completely magical. And imagine them being able to develop something like that and come up with this amazing show of them, two of the biggest billionaires in the world fighting it out. I mean, that would be incredible. And just to add the little cherry on the top, being in the Coliseum in Rome, that would be great. But man, I really don't know where it would be great to see Biden and Trump debating. I mean, I think that would be the hottest ticket in town. That would be an incredible show. I don't think there is a prize to be able to see that in person, but that would be very interesting, not to say the least. And once again, I mean, look, it's all about politics. It's not going to happen. I am almost 99% sure that Biden will never, ever debate Trump at all. It's not going to happen. There's still 1%, and 1% because obviously I have no control over them, but no, 99% Biden will never debate. He will talk and say and talk too much smack, but it's not gonna. I mean, the beating would be horrible if that happens. So no, no way. Something else that I wanted to talk about was, I think the movie was called Rush. I think it's called Rush. I think it was Rush, which is with Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin. And I was looking at the armor. The girl got 18 months. 18 months in prison. And nothing happens to Alec. I mean, I don't know what kind of world we live in, but it is crazy. It is very crazy. And the reason why I think it's crazy is because everybody has spoken very loudly about the fact that Alec Baldwin is a guy that is very unconscious about any kind of safety or anything about weapons. He uses weapons as he pleases and basically with a lot of disregard to safety. And that's what everybody speaks about. And, even if I'm using a gun that is supposed to be a prop gun with blanks, I am not going to be aiming to somebody in the face at all, at all. I mean, is just simple, common sense safety that you have to apply on weapons. And my kids are a perfect example of that. My kids grew up uh, with a knowledge of how to handle weapons in the sense of, even using Nerf guns and stuff. They will never, aim at your face, or they will never have the finger on the trigger. The finger control and the safety control on the finger is huge. It's huge. We practiced that since they were very little, and there were no mistakes allowed. Those mistakes will carry on huge consequences on them. And the trigger finger is something that needs to be in safe at all times. So unless you're ready to shoot, and that's when you pull in the trigger, you put in the trigger and you pull it, right? And that's the way they handle it, even on Nerf guns. Um, I don't know if they apply as much as the cross skin, but on Nerf guns, but they do in real guns, and we have shotguns plenty and pistols and stuff. And look, once again, it's all about how you teach your kids. It's always thinking that safety first. It's a taboo nowadays. Weapons have become a taboo and something that oh man, you can't be talking about this, you can't be talking about that. But the reality is, you want your kids to know how to hunt. You want your kids to know how to use weapons because, in my personal opinion, the biggest problem in society is curiosity. And when you have a kid that have never handled a weapon and he faces a gun somewhere, most probably that's a kid that is going to grab the gun and pull the trigger. I have plenty of confidence that if my kids ever face a situation like that, they will be the kind of kids that will most probably disarm the weapon and bring it to an adult. Um, Obviously, safety in the sense of I keep all my guns, how you see, in the safe. I do have a couple of the safes around the house, but they're always protected. Only I have access to them. But if they ever are in the necessity, being because we're shooting together or they need to use it, I have a lot of confidence that they will do it in a safely manner. And that brings back to, if you teach your kids that way, why is Alec Baldwin walking around freely like nothing happened? And then he get exposed by a lady. I don't know if you've seen the video. A couple of days ago, it came out, and this lady found him in some kind of a cafe. I think it was in California, and she approached him and she called him out. She called him out straight on. And the guy, you can see his demeanor and everything. He couldn't hold himself. He just went at it and hit the girl's phone. I guess that's what she was using to film, out of her hands. Obviously, an attack. It's very important who does what and when. All right, and she can say whatever she wants, but once that become a personal and physical attack, that changes the rules of the game 100%. And that is an attack. So I don't know what is going to happen with that. I don't know if the girl is going to press charges or not, or what did she do after. But it's crazy. It's crazy how this guy has been able to be free and clear himself from everything. I can't really comprehend that. Something else I wanted to talk about was Tennessee, the state. The state is pretty impressive. They passed two bills, and one bill is allowing the death penalty to child rapists. I mean, awesome. What can I say? I have kids, obviously, and I have a soft spot for kids, and I love kids. I mean, they're the future. They're the future. Obviously, parenting has to do a lot with it, and depending on how the kid forms and how the kid becomes, but they are the future at the end of the day. So, just knowing that somebody that harms them will pay the ultimate price, that's fair. In my personal opinion, that's extremely fair. And then, not only that, they pass another law allowing teachers to carry weapons after a rigorous training. Let me emphasize on that, because I am one of the first people that say, look, I'm pro Second Amendment 100%, but you need to know how to handle a weapon if you're going to have one. If you don't, then don't have one. Don't have one because, listen, obviously you're going to shoot somebody that you don't want to shoot. And second, you're going to shoot yourself because, accidental discharges happen pretty often, especially when you don't know what you're doing. So it's like driving a car. If you can't pass a test and you don't know where the gas is and where the brake is and where the steering is, you shouldn't be driving. Am I right? And those two things kill people and have to be taken very seriously. But being that said, once you learn how to handle it, then you should be able to defend yourself and others. That is very important. And we keep forgetting about that. Criminals keep having the right and the strength over most of the civilians that are not armed. And they come and obviously they have no consequences. So what do you expect when they know they're going to be able to get somebody because that person is not armed and they will do whatever they want to them? They are going to act that way. But look, very few people, and I always try to put this example. If you see a crazy person walking down the street with a knife in his hands, the person is butt naked, by the way, coming at you, what are you going to do? You're going to cross the street, am I right? Listen, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to prevent any problems, so let me cross the street. And you go across the street, you leave that person there. But the problem is when that person knows that he has all the power in their hands and the other person is defenseless and there is a wall in between the sidewalk and you have nowhere else to go, you're done. You're done. And that's exactly what the law is preventing. Or at least giving them a fighting chance. It's allowing the teachers to have a fighting chance for them and for the kids. And I am glad. I'm glad that passed. And I applaud them. I really and truly do. I do, because they need it. They need it. Our teachers need the training. And that is if they decide. I have faced a lot of teachers in my life that you go, if I tell you stories. But is once again, if they're willing to go through a training and they're willing to grab the bull by the horns and protect themselves and others, by all means. By all means. And I will put this example there. If we get into a world war and the United States goes heads on and you get called to serve in the military, you cannot say no. You will be given a weapon. You'll be given, I guess, some kind of a quick training into where is the safety, where is the trigger, and good luck to you and how to change magazines. And go ahead, buddy, that way. You will have no saying into I am going or not to war. Yet, they want to have the right to control you from saying I want to defend myself or not. That's very unfair. So I think that if you're going to be willing to fight for this country, you should be able also to defend yourself in this country. It's just the way it should work. And hey, that's part of the Constitution as well. The right to bear arms is something that is becoming more and more important every day, every single day. I'm a firm believer that in Second World War, we didn't get completely invaded by Japan just because they knew that we were one of the most armed countries per capita in the world, and that we were going to defend our land with everything we had. So I think they knew that if they tried to pull that one and come and invade us, the results were not going to be as they wished. Unfortunately, it wasn't as they wished for them. Fortunately, for the rest of the world, I think we were able to stop it and to prevent something way worse from happening. But that's a topic for another day. I think the results were, thank God, the best ones for all of us. And unfortunately, once again, because of not learning from the past, we are about to fall all over. All over. But look, you see all these people protesting Israel and protesting everything they want to protest. But let me remind you, it doesn't matter what side you're on, it doesn't matter what you think. These people, these terrorists, still have hostages in their hands. Some people are saying that most of those hostages are already dead. They were already killed. So that's why it's so hard to come up with some kind of an agreement, a ceasefire, and in order to release the hostages, because that will give a very gruesome number of people that have lost their lives. And I think that's basically the main reason why they really can't. But hey, it's terrorism. So you never know what they're thinking or how they're doing things. And if they care about their people, this is the way I see it. If they care about their people, they would have released the hostages already to prevent the killing and everything that is going on. But they don't care. That is exactly why everything is happening over there and how it's happening, because they don't care. And that is a huge problem, because I don't blame a country that is trying to defend themselves. Are they doing it right? We can possibly have different opinions about it, but they do have 100% the right to defend themselves and the right to go get the hostages back. I mean, they were attacked. They were, and I wouldn't believe that it would be any different if any country invades another country, take their people hostage, and kill a bunch in there and then retreat. The other country is not going to react to it. That is obviously something that will happen, and it will possibly be in a different scale. But look, at the end of the day, all I hope is that whatever hostages is still alive, they get released soon. They have families, and for those that lost their lives in the middle of all, I think it's almost 6 months of war, they are already in a better place than this very messed up world. So God knows what He's doing. God's timing is perfect, and I guess everything will happen when it has to happen. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I also wanted to talk about two other things, which is technology-wise. I think it's important that we not always concentrate in politics and the wars of society, am I right? So I think we should also see something interesting and talk about interesting things that we have around us. And I love cars, so I'm going to talk about the Tesla Cybertruck and how impressive it is. I mean, not only because of the voltage that it uses and the drive-by-wire, which is pretty cool, and a bunch of other things, but also the way the doors are designed and the panels, and how strong they are, that you can actually shoot them with some pellets from a shotgun. It won't penetrate or break. That's pretty awesome. But being that said, there is other Chinese company, Zhongwang, I think it's called U8. I think it's called the car. It's a truck, actually, an SUV. Not truck, an SUV. Every time I say truck, my kids correct me and they say, "No, the truck is a pickup. SUVs." Okay, so SUV. They'll be proud that I learned that from them. Anyways, they have a SUV that is capable of floating. I don't know if you have the chance. Google it. Young One. Correct me, please, and make fun of my amazing Mandarin. But that's the name of the company. U8 is the name of the SUV. And it floats and it uses the traction of the tires in the water in order to move, navigate. Obviously, at very slow speeds because what creates the drag is the tires themselves. I don't know what happens if the car runs out of thread. That'd be interesting. But anyways, I guess you're gonna have to use some skin. No, just a joke, just a joke, just a joke. Don't take me seriously. I don't want to see anybody coming down the mountain with a truck. But hey, we live in a very special world nowadays, and you never know what they will do for the gram. Am I right? They say, "Oh, this is for the gram," and throw themselves down with an SUV, a double black diamond. Whee! That would be interesting. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was a picture. The picture that they took of Mars that shows a very big crater, and inside of that crater, something that looks like water. Everybody started making fun of the picture, saying, "Oh, there you go, Mars. Here we go. Grab yourselves. They have water, so we're going." That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Look, after so many ideologies and things, even Elon Musk came out to speak about that, into how can we make Mars livable. And a lot of ideas had come up in many years. So, for example, let's send a couple nuclear bombs, big nuclear bombs, and then contaminate the whole planet, and that will create an atmosphere that will be thicker and all the stuff, and who knows, possibly in 50, 60, 70, 100 years after that, we'll be able to move in because that atmosphere will be thick enough in order to create the humidity needed, and then hence start creating life and whatever. Listen, I'm not a scientist, but that is an idea. That is an idea that has been proposed and many others, but that takes too much time. And I think us humans are very autodestructive. And the faster we conquer another planet, the better it's going to be for all of us. That will elongate our life in this beautiful universe. Because it's just a matter of time that somebody does something dumb and it's going to cost a lot of lives because, we're like that. We're auto-destructive humans at the end of the day. Anyways, I just wanted to mention those two little things. I will try to add a couple to every podcast so you guys can look at it. If you guys know about it, awesome. And if you guys didn't, I guess you can research something cool that I personally found very interesting. So, hope you like it. Once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to my craziness and my common sense as well. And God bless us all. I'll never get tired of saying it. We need His blessings. Every day that goes on, there is always something new, and we just have to trust that His time is perfect. For now, I am over.